Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today's video is another weekly running and training vlog where the main purpose of this video is for you to tell me about your week of running. And for this week, this video is going to be a little chopped up. Not for you, I'm going to stitch it all together, but I'm going to have to film it at several different times. And that will all become apparent as the video goes on. And as you can see, I'm getting ready to go out for a run. I'm filming this before I go out for a run, but I just want to tell you about a study that I found. And I'm going to go into the study after my run. But first, how many of you like to drink coffee before you go out for a run? How many of you like to run in the morning? And having a cup of coffee is a pretty integral part of the whole process, getting things moving and waking you up. Well, let me know in the comments below. Okay, so the study that I found is titled Effects of Caffeine Chewing Gum Supplementation on Exercise Performance, a Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis. So basically this study is looking at several different studies and it's finding out the efficacy of caffeine gum. So of course the first thing I did was go onto Amazon and see what I could find as far as caffeine gum so I could actually test this firsthand for you. And the one I settled on was this military energy gum, MEG. Do we have any B-roll of this gum? Is that even something that people want? We do? Okay, roll it. Okay, before I take some of this, I haven't tested this before making the video. This is actually the first time I'm going to be using it. I just want to read to you the directions, the instructions written on the back. And I'll put this up on your screen now just so you can read along. But it says, chew one piece for 5 minutes. If not alert within 15 minutes, chew a second piece. Do not exceed 2 pieces in 3 hours or more than 4 pieces in 24 hours for civilians. Do not exceed 10 pieces in 24 hours for military. So for some reason they think that people in the military are able to handle caffeine at a rate of 2.5 times that of civilians. By the way, each piece of gum is 100 milligrams of caffeine. And just so you know, the average 8-ounce cup of coffee has about 95 milligrams of caffeine. Now there are guidelines in this study which kind of let me know how much I need to be taking, but we're going to get into that after my run. So for this run, for this initial experiment of this military energy gum, this caffeine chewing gum, I am actually going to be taking 3 pieces. And I know it said don't exceed more than 2 pieces in 3 hours, but I'm pretty sure these are just guidelines. There's also a pretty strict time limit. So as soon as I take this gum, I have to be out the door and I have to start running within 15 minutes. So let's do that right now. See these like big blue tablets? Look how big these are. These are big pieces of gum, big blue caffeine pills. Okay. Nothing yet. Excuse my chewing. That's a lot of gum. Okay, it's time to get my shoes on because I have to be out the door in a few minutes. After this run, we'll go over the study. We'll talk about it. Then I'll go over my entire week of running. But let's get that run knocked out. Hi guys, that was a pretty good run, and you'll hear about the run at the end of this video when I talk about my week of running. But this was the day that I did my intervals, and I had some pretty long intervals today. But as far as the caffeine gum goes, I'm really not sure. I think I felt a difference when I was running, but it's really hard to say because of the placebo effect. I mean, you could have given me anything and I would have felt better thinking that I was going to feel better. You know what I'm saying? So clearly my using caffeine gum is not a scientific experiment, but I wanted to test it just so I could talk about it and actually know what I was talking about. If there was a huge difference, I wanted to be able to feel it firsthand. But let's get inside, let's get cleaned up, and we're going to go over the study. And I'm going to tell you what they found about athletes using caffeine gum. And it's pretty good. Actually, now that I'm talking about it, I think I actually feel pretty good. So placebo or not, if you're feeling good after taking something, maybe it's worth it. And that would be a great time for you to tell me about your feelings about using performance enhancing drugs. And I'm not talking about the illegal PEDs. I'm talking about things that improve our performance that are legal, like caffeine. Do you find that caffeine helps you in your athletic pursuits? And do you use it on a regular basis for that purpose? Or do you just use it because you like drinking tea, you like drinking coffee? Let me know in the comments. Okay, it's shower time. Oh, and I'm dreading this shower because this was the day. I don't know if you saw my reel on Instagram earlier in the week, but I fell on this run and I got a bit of road rash, and you can see my knee right there. And look at this on my hip. And also got a bit of road rash there on my elbow. So when I get in the shower, it's not going to be pleasant. It's going to sting. Okay, see you back in the office. Okay, one thing I was right about was the pain in the shower. It was horrendous. But let's get right into this study, because this study, after reading it, this was the reason that I went onto Amazon and I bought that caffeine gum, because I wanted to try for myself. Now, I know for you scientific-minded people out there, it is impossible for me to take the gum and then immediately see any results. There are too many biases, too many confounding variables for me, one person, in my little N of 1 experiment to get any meaningful data. It is all anecdotal. And yes, towards the end of the run, I think I was feeling better, maybe more alert than I have been on other runs, but really it's impossible for me to say. So just take my little experiment with a pinch of salt. Here's some data that you can rely on. And this study, as you know, is new, came out March of 2022, and it's a meta-analysis, which in my opinion is the best kind of analysis, because they are taking studies that loads of other people have done, they're combining the results, and then they're drawing conclusions from all the other findings. So ultimately we get a much wider sample size. And this specific meta-analysis used 14 different studies with a total of 200 participants. I don't know, 200 participants doesn't sound like very many, relatively speaking, compared with the whole population, but it is what it is. 200 is actually a pretty good sample size. And here's the thing that lends this meta-analysis a little credibility. Those 14 studies they used were all placebo-controlled protocols. They all used healthy adults. So what that means is that some of the participants in these studies were given a placebo. They were given chewing gum that is not caffeinated. Other participants were given chewing gum that is caffeinated. So then when we look at the performance of these athletes after the fact, we can see which ones did better. And the only thing that is different is that some participants got the placebo and some got the caffeinated gum. Okay, so on the surface, this is pretty good science. And the results found, and I suppose if the results had found anything different, I probably wouldn't have gone out and bought caffeinated gum. So even if your intuition is at the absolute baseline, you probably picked up on this. But the study found that the caffeinated gum had a significant overall effect compared with the placebo. So in a nutshell, the caffeinated gum works. Now the study did include several sub-analyses. They looked at training status, exercise type, timing, and dose. So across all those subgroup analyses, it was found that caffeinated gum improved both endurance and strength power outcomes. Okay, you get that? Endurance and strength were improved when the athletes used caffeinated gum. But here's something I think is really fascinating. The results were only found to be beneficial in trained athletes. Athletes that were not trained did not benefit the same way as trained athletes did. So I'm going to make a jump right now, and I'm going to assume that most of you watching this are trained athletes. You do fall into that field. And if you don't, perhaps you're just getting started as a runner, you soon will be a trained athlete. So what that means for you and me is that, scientifically speaking, caffeinated gum has been found to improve endurance and strength and power. Pretty good, eh? Now, I've already asked you to give me your opinions on what you think, ethically speaking, about using caffeine as a performance-enhancing drug. And if you haven't already let me know, now is another gentle nudge to let me know what your opinions are. Okay, but just a little more. The study was a little more nuanced than just taking some caffeinated chewing gum and then performing better. The study actually found that there was no significant effect of caffeinated gum if the athlete took less than 3 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. But there was a significant effect when the athletes took 3 milligrams or more of caffeine per kilogram of body weight. And one more little nuance that you need to be aware of if you are going to be buying some caffeinated gum in order to get these effects. It was found that the caffeinated gum was ergogenic when it was taken within 15 minutes of the start of exercise, but not when provided more than 15 minutes before the start of exercise. So earlier when I was talking about taking that gum and then I had to get out the door within 15 minutes, that was the reason I was on a clock. But it does raise the question. So on this morning's run, I took the gum within 15 minutes and I was out the door probably in 12 minutes. Then I started running and I warmed up for the first 15 or 20 minutes. Then when I got into the intervals, I wonder if the effects of that caffeine had worn off. Now I know obviously the caffeine was still in my body, but if the study found that the caffeine was not ergogenic when taken more than 15 minutes before, it certainly raises the question of how long into that activity the caffeine chewing gum actually works. And to answer that, we're probably going to need another study. And if you're wondering about how much caffeine chewing gum I took 3 pieces. 3 pieces at 100 milligrams a piece is 300 milligrams. I currently weigh 84 kilograms, so using the minimum dose of 3 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, 3 times 84 is 252 milligrams of caffeine. So just for the caffeine gum, I ingested 300 milligrams of caffeine. And I also had a cup of coffee about half an hour before. But if you remember, there was no top end. The study found ergogenic effects with 3 milligrams per kilogram of body weight or more. There wasn't a top end, but I think I was in the safe zone. So what do you think? Is caffeine chewing gum something you would try before an event? Is something you would try before going out for a fast workout? Let me know in the comments. Alright guys, well, I had a pretty good week. Started off on Monday with 11 miles. Very easy. Just getting out there, turning my legs over, and it felt pretty good because the week before I actually took Sunday off. So I'd had a day off before an easy run. So that was really nice, especially because on Tuesday was my interval day, and I had some very long intervals this week. And I actually filmed the beginning of this video right before that workout. So for that workout, I knocked out a total of 10.7 miles. I warmed up for 2.3 miles, then I did 2 times 3 miles with 1 mile recovery in between, and then I cooled down for another 1.3 miles. And I was pretty happy with that. Things were warming up, so I was pretty sweaty, but still felt like I put in a good effort on that workout. workout. And because I put in that hard work on Tuesday, Wednesday was an easy day. I knocked out 7.5 miles, very easy. Now I did run back and forth over a golf cart overpass just to get a little elevation, but it was no kind of workout. All I wanted was to practice running uphill at an easy pace. So even though I did that, I still consider Wednesday a very easy run, because Thursday was the run that I was most anxious about moving through the week. And Thursday I did a total of 11.5 miles. I warmed up for 1 mile, then I did 10 miles at tempo pace. And this was actually a better run than I thought, but not for the running performance metrics. It was a good run to practice what was going on up in my head, because 10 miles at tempo is not an easy workout, and I found myself wanting to pull back a bit. But I didn't. I practiced where my mind was going, I practiced what I was thinking about, I practiced that acceptance of pain that we talked about on Friday. And after the 10 miles of tempo, I cooled down for just half a mile, and I was feeling pretty good. The other plus of that tempo run was that it was 63 degrees Fahrenheit and 100% humidity, so it was very foggy. So not ideal running temperatures, but I was pretty happy that I was able to hold on for that whole 10 miles. Now Friday was an off day for running. I did ride the Peloton, but running, I wanted to take a day off because I knew I had a long run planned on Saturday. Now Saturday was a little difficult to get in my long run because Harmony and I decided to go on holiday, and that means I either had to go on the treadmill or I had to run on the track. Now right now we're on the Wonder of the Seas, and we're pretty lucky because it has quite a long track. So of course for my long run I wanted to run on the track and not the treadmill. And for this week's long run I knocked out 20.4 miles. Now I've got to be honest, it was getting tough. It was getting mentally tough just running around in circles, but I'm glad I did it. It was 3 solid hours of running. And then I wrapped up the week on Sunday, again on the track, 10.1 miles, very easy, bringing me to a total of 71.26 miles or 114.68 kilometers. Pretty happy with this week. Alright guys, don't forget to let me know about your week of running. Be kind, be happy, run well. I'll see you in a couple of days.